Hey, what's up guys? I'm here with my 1994 Integra GSR. As you guys know, I have been doing many upgrades and just kind of refreshing this engine all around. And today I am going to concentrate on the throttle position sensor. I have a brand new Skunk 2 intake manifold along with a Skunk 2 65mm throttle body right here. And I have this almost just about done, but one missing piece that I have is the throttle position sensor. The throttle position sensor sits right back here on the throttle body. It probably would have been a little bit easier for me to do this off the car, but hey, it's on the car and that's where it is. So that's where the throttle position sensor goes on these cars. And let me show you what I got. I have a brand new throttle position sensor here. So this is the TPS that I'm using. It is a Blocks. I have tried every single brand that you can imagine. Omni Power, obviously Blocks, plenty of no-name brands off of Amazon and eBay. I mean, yeah, they are all garbage. They are all pieces of crap. They all do not work properly and they do not last. They're all garbage. So if you have an OEM one, unless you know for a fact that it is bad, don't change it. The only TPS, and I mean the only one that is actually worth anything, is an OEM Honda one. And I have tried buying a used OEM Honda one, and unfortunately I got burned and it wasn't good on arrival. So yeah, perks of owning an old car is parts availability. Anyways, I'm gonna try this out. Like I said, doesn't matter what brand name you buy in these because they're all the exact same one, just a different name printed on them. They're all made from the same place. They all come from the same place. They're all the same materials. They're all trash. Anyways, as you can tell, I've had much frustration with my TPSs before on this car. So anyways, let's get going on this project here. I'm going to go ahead and take off this TPS and I will show you the difficulties of calibrating this. Alright guys, so you can see in my mirror here, you can see that those two prongs right there. That little notch that is on the throttle body. You can see that something fits between those notches, and let me show you what fits between those notches. So over here, I have my opened brand new TPS. And this guy right here, that fits between those notches. So whenever you install this, I am going to be using my mirror here since my throttle body's on the car. Obviously, if you have it off the car, it'll be a little bit easier. But you kind of got to do it by feel. And this guy moves, it rotates. So you can kind of feel it doing that. So you kind of got to do this by feel if the throttle body is still on the car. And then of course, do not forget the gasket. And then most of these TPSs include the hardware. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I put this on properly, and then we can get into calibrating the TPS. Alright guys, so the TPS sensor is on my throttle body. Both screws are on, but I did not tighten them down all the way. You want this to be able to just rotate just the ever so slightest, because in order to calibrate this, you are going to be moving this sensor. So just be sure that you don't tighten this all the way. So now that that is on, now we can begin to calibrate it. You will need a multimeter. This is the one I have. We will be setting it to 20 volts right there. This isn't necessary, but I got this idea from Garage Built Hondas. This makes it a lot easier and to where you do not actually have to splice into the wires of your wiring harness. I have a wire wire engine tuck harness on this car, so you know, obviously that's brand new and I spent a lot of money on that, so I do not want to be splicing into that harness. So in order for me to bypass splicing into it, I made this. Again, I got this idea from Garage Built Hondas. Shout out to John. And basically it's just a TPS sensor plug, and then you splice in these alligator clips to hold your multimeter connections, and then these ends go into your actual harness that is on the car. So it bypasses splicing into any of that, so we can actually get the readings that we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in into the TPS and then plug the other ends into my wiring harness. So let's see if we can get some readings. It's plugged in. Let's see, where is my TPS? Here's my wire harness. None of this is plugged in, but that's okay. So that one says TPS, there it is right there. So I'm going to hold this plug and put the wires in their respective location. Green, and then red, and then yellow. Yellow over here. Right, so that is what that looks like right there, plugged into the sensor. Now I am first going to check that we actually have voltage to the TPS by connecting my red end of the multimeter to the yellow, and then the black end of the multimeter to the ground. But first, before I do that, we need to actually turn on the ignition to the car. So I have my keys here, the battery is connected. Oh yeah. Okay, so we are not going to start the car. We're just going to turn the ignition to the on position. Alright guys, so I have the ignition on. I have the red wire connected to the yellow port from the TPS, and I am getting, let's see here, I'm going to attach this to the ground right there. 5.04 volts to the sensor, so that's good. Now we know that the sensor is getting power, so it should be getting right around 5 volts, so that's good. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch this red wire out, or this red wire to the from the voltmeter to the red wire on the TPS, and then we can get an actual reading so we can calibrate the sensor. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch those out. Okay, so now you can see that the red wire of my multimeter is connected to the red wire from the TPS, and then I have my ground here. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to the battery ground, just like that, and we are reading 0.72. I'm actually gonna fit this in there like that so I don't have to hold it. All right, so 0.71, 0.72, so that definitely means that we need to adjust it. The TPS should read 0.50 at closed throttle, which obviously it's closed right now, and then 4.50 at wide open throttle. So I'm gonna go ahead and just very slightly move this. It takes just the slightest touch. I mean, just like less than a millimeter can be a major change on the TPS. So just very slightly. Almost down to 0.5. Let's see, can I get it? Okay, so I'm just for kicks, I'm gonna move the throttle all the way to wide open throttle. There it is. 4.79, so that is way too high. So I need to adjust. Well, there it is, perfect at closed throttle. Let me try that again at wide open. 4.7, okay, so I need to adjust that. Alright guys, so I am finally getting 0.5 volts. That is at closed throttle. I'm going to go ahead and open the throttle very slowly. As you can see, as I open it, the voltage goes up, and as we reach wide open throttle, it is currently reading 4.59, which isn't bad. Usually not going to get exact on wide open throttle. I've only seen that happen one other time, but it's good how it is where it is. I mean, until I can get my Honda set up, which will be a while because that's so expensive, but this is what I have for right now, and this is, you know, a pretty quick, easy how-to. Also, if you don't want to plug into your wiring harness, I highly suggest, if you have extra plugs or whatever, you can buy one of these plugs and pigtails off of eBay for less than 15 bucks. But anyways, so yeah, that's what I'm getting. 0.5 at closed throttle. Again, at wide open throttle, 4.59. Very nice. It's coming together, guys. Coming together. Been dreading doing that TPS sensor. I really don't like doing those because they're so touchy. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more Integra content. I have some awesome parts coming from this. One of them is from Japan, gonna take 2.5 months to get here. But yeah, they'll be awesome whenever that comes in. Also need to install my header. I have a Skunk 2 header sitting down there, and that needs to be installed. So look out for those. Also maybe some videos on this guy right here. That sexy S2000 sitting there. Anyways, give this a thumbs up if this helped you in any way, and I'll catch you in the next one.